start with, we'll just go through the press release. We'll have that press release available to you. We'll get it shipped out sometime after this meeting, probably be half an hour or so before we work out the technology there. But you'll hear it firsthand immediately here, and then turn it over to questions, and we'll tag team those as we go. Is everybody with me? On March 2nd, 2015 at 10:26 p.m., Wisconsin State Patrol and Janesville Fire Department responded to a semi-tractor trailer fire on the shoulder of westbound I-90 near mile marker 173. The semi remained parked on the shoulder awaiting being removed from the scene when at 1:48 it was struck by a second semi-tractor trailer that was transporting a variety of swimming pool type chemicals. There were no injuries as a result of the accident. However, the rear end of the truck was damaged and the various chemicals were spilled and leaked. Janesville Fire Department hazmat team was dispatched to the location to address the hazardous materials situation. Once on scene, they located 4 barrels alongside the highway that were damaged and other chemicals that had spilled onto the roadway. Janesville hazmat team consulted with the National Guard 54th Civil Support Team, and it was determined that the Type 2 hazmat team out of Madison should be called in to assist with the situation. Traffic on I-90 was shut down in the westbound lane at approximately 2:15 by the Wisconsin State Patrol, Janesville Fire Police Department, and Rock County Sheriff's Office. It is anticipated that traffic will remain rerouted for the duration of the incident. At approximately 7 a.m., the Janesville hazmat team began neighborhood air quality monitoring. While they didn't receive any dangerous readings, they did recommend the evacuation of the 1700 block of Green Valley Drive through the end of the road as a precautionary measure. This was accomplished by the Janesville Police Department. At this point, the hazardous materials team on scene have not identified a threat to public safety beyond the immediate area of the spill. Weather conditions and wind speeds are being closely monitored at this time. A cleanup crew has been en route to this location from the south side of Chicago, and it's anticipated that they should be arriving somewhere at approximately 10:30 a.m. Do we have any questions?
Could you describe again the area being evacuated? This is on Green Valley Drive.
Yeah. I think the way it was said was the 1700 block of Green Valley Drive all the way through the cul-de-sac at the end of the road.
Do you know approximately how many people we're talking about?
They said it was 5 duplexes. I'm not sure how many of them were home when they went through to do the evacuation.
How long will they be asked to stay out of their homes?
That is a very good question. I think we'll have a much better idea as to how long this incident's going to take to clean up once the crew arrives here sometime in the very near future.
Could you describe a bit about the hazards of the event? Obviously, it's very cautious. It's been hazmat, had to come out. It takes time to go in. And granted, it started about 2. You're just getting the cleanup crew there now. I mean, what are the hazards? Why such precautions? What are the potentials? What are the worries?
Thank you. Jim Jensen, Janesville Fire Chief. This is the truck that was involved in the accident is a 53-foot semi-trailer. As Commander Knudsen noted, it was carrying pool chemicals, which would seem relatively harmless, but we've got a wide variety of chemicals from one end of the pH spectrum to the other, and then also some toxic chemicals involved. So, and we can research each one of those individually, and we know what the hazards and the toxicity of those chemicals are. But when they're mixed together, we don't know what the reaction is. So it's taking us some time to sort out which chemicals are leaking and which ones are reacting together. And we're monitoring the air quality, and we're also monitoring the vehicle for heat release. We know that it's been heating, the chemicals have been reacting together, and so we're being very cautious, and we recognize that you know, this is creates a hardship for certainly for the people who are evacuated and also for motorists. So we're working with a cleanup crew. They should be arriving momentarily if they're not on scene now. And we'll work together with the hazmat team, the Madison hazmat team, the Type 2 team, the 54 Civil Support team. We're all going to get together and make an entry, get it cleaned up as soon as we can, and as safely as we can.
Any idea how long a cleanup with this type of chemical might take? How long the crew will be? Basically, how long will the eye be shut down?
It's a slow process, but once everybody arrives on scene and we get people suited up, get the equipment together that we need, I would just guess that we could do that, get in there and see what we have, do a recon within a couple of hours, and then it may take some time after that to actually to get the chemicals loaded up, removed. There may be some remediation that goes on after the fact, but hopefully we can get this cleaned up in a matter of hours.
Any benefit to the fact that 54 was already here this week to practice dealing with chemicals, at least in a home, potential meth lab, or any help in that?
It's certainly very beneficial because we know what their capabilities are, and they have exactly the type of equipment that we need to determine what the hazards are, what happens when chemicals react. They have the expertise, and so very, very beneficial.
Chief, did you say pool chemicals?
Yes, swimming pool chemicals. As I said, some of them are very acidic, corrosive, and also others are caustic. So corrosive chemicals and also a number of toxic chemicals.
Do you know the names of any of these?
We do have names, but I'd prefer not to start listing them because we just got an unofficial list at this time.
What's the fear of not evacuating these residents that we're talking about?
The fear of not.
Kind of the reason behind actually evacuating them, the fear of if you don't evacuate them, what could possibly happen?
Well, so far the only evacuation we've done is Green Valley Drive runs parallel with the interstate, right next to the interstate, and we've got residences that are very close proximity. We used an initial distance of 300 feet, and I think we've expanded that a little bit, but so it's only the residences that are immediately adjacent to the incident that we have evacuated. So we don't think there's any danger beyond that at this time, but we are continuing to monitor the air to ensure that.
So in the area where there is some danger, what is the danger?
Well, there isn't a danger at this time, but because we know the truck is heating up, we know there's a chemical reaction taking place. So we just are trying to prepare in case something more significant takes place. If the wind were to change, or there was a reaction that was more significant, then we would be prepared for that.
What's the name of the company that was transporting the chemicals?
Just give me a minute to take a look here. having to sort through all this information here at this point, just for right on scene. I'm Sergeant Ann Maxon with the Wisconsin State Patrol. The carrier that was involved with the hazardous materials at this point in time appears to be Dayton Freight Lines out of Dayton, Ohio.
Dayton spelled like Dayton, Ohio.
Yes,
Freight line is one word.
two separate words.
Do you know where the destination was?
That information, I don't have any of the shipping information of where the product originated and where it was going to. I don't know, Chief, if you have it. Okay, we don't have that information yet of where it was actually destined to go to.
Chief, did anyone inhale contaminated with anything out there at the scene?
No injuries at this point.
So, I know Commander Knudsen, you went through this, but could someone tell me how the accident occurred again? There was one at the side of the road on fire.
There had been a semi earlier in the evening, approximately 11 p.m., that had a minor electrical fire, and that vehicle was parked off the traveled portion of the roadway on the shoulder, waiting for a tow to come and tow it away. And then approximately 1:48-ish a.m., the State Freight Lines truck came along and drifted across and struck that parked semi.
What kind of?
They were both headed in the same direction.
Yes, they were both in the westbound.
Any idea why it drifted across and did that?
At this point, I don't have any of the information. They're still completing the investigation and talking with the driver.
What kind of damage to the second vehicle? You said it was near the end, rear of it. What kind of damage?
I was out at the scene there, and it appeared that the second semi missed the first semi with the front part of the tractor trailer, but that the trailer portion caught midway back on the trailer and it tore open the back of that trailer, and that's how some of the chemicals got released.
So the truck carrying the chemicals has a hole in it through which some barrels came out?
It appears that's the case, yes.
Is there any visible smoke or fumes coming out of there?
No.
Sorry, was it Sergeant Maxon?
Yes, sir.
Could you spell
And
your-
A-N-N?
With an E,
With an E.
and Maxon is M-A-X-S-O-N.
All right. Are there any further questions?
Do you, I don't know if we asked this, or do you know how many people are, you don't know how many, you know, 5 duplexes, but you don't know how many people.
And at this point, strictly precautionary. You don't. The air monitoring showed nothing
Correct.
in that neighborhood. Any idea when? I guess the next thing I'm looking for is when they're allowed to get back on the interstate. So you can sit down and mix it, or what are you going to do with it?
Yep. We'll get information out as it becomes available. We'll do updates.
Which direction is the wind blowing in?
It's from the north.
Yeah, and I don't have the exact
Just curious for prevailing,
speed and direction.
for prevailing, westerly breeze.
Right.
If it picks up, what is the potential area of contamination if there were toxic fumes?
I don't have that with me. I know that at the scene they are looking at that information, monitoring that, but are in contact with Sullivan Weather, and they're, they've got the forecast. And, it's not, the prediction is that the wind will stay in a similar direction, but we are prepared if it does change.
And who do we call for updates?
I think all three of us will be working together, and you can certainly contact the emergency management office, and they can let you know when the next information will be coming your way from the fire department, sheriff's office, and patrol.
So the evacuation was voluntary? If they're allowed to come here on their own, I assume it's voluntary? Highly recommended, but voluntary?
Yes, it's difficult to force an evacuation, but people did evacuate. Some were, going to work or various places anyway, so they had a place to go.
But the rest are being bivouacked here?
Pardon me?
They're coming here?
We offered this as a place to come.
Do you know if they took you up on it?
Don't believe so.
So the detour route has been set up. That's going to operate that way through the duration.
Yeah, at this point in time, there is a detour route set up. There is also dynamic message signs that are controlled by the State Traffic Operations Center, advising motorists of the delay and of alternate routes as well. And that'll continue intact at this point until we get traffic flowing again.
Is it causing you guys troubles and back up to the south there? Or?
There's been a few minor disabled vehicles and minor crash south of the scene. I have not heard of anything on any of the detour routes at this point in time. I don't know, Sheriff, if you have anything from the Sheriff's Department. So at this point in time, it's just been slow going.
That is great. How crazy has the traffic become since you had to go to that detour right to Troy? Because it would have been coming through the county by then as it got off the interstate.
It's largely being handled through the Janesville Police Department and the State Patrol. They've been running people up Weathering Drive for loaded vehicles, and I think they were coming up 14 with the semis, the bigger loads. Certainly, it's been a lot of traffic they're trying to deal with out there. We've had to send as much available staff as we have to help them with that effort, but we're managing at this point.
When it comes to the amount of people, you guys had to call in extra because I know you had to call in at least part of a shift. And the sheriff, how many extra guys and officers and crew?
We called in 7 during the night, and then of course we had shift change at 7 a.m. So we have a few people that stayed over from yesterday's shift. So I don't know in total how many extra people we have working right now, but there's people in and out of the scene. So originally we had about 14 people out there on the scene, but some of them are coming and going depending on how many people we need there and what resources we need.
Do you hope to have the interstate reopened, by late this afternoon, by tonight, before sundown?
I think we certainly hope to have it opened as soon as we possibly can here. It's just a matter of once this cleanup crew arrives, we'll have a better indication as to exactly how long that's going to have to be shut down.
I can say that as far as the operations at the scene, we will open that roadway as soon as we believe that it is safe to do so. We understand very clearly the issue that this creates when we shut down lanes on the interstate. So we really try to avoid doing it if all possible, but we will get that interstate reopened as soon as we can.
All right. Thank you much.
Thank you.